He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want to around with the United States.
The diplomatic fallout is escalating following a series of controversial United States military airstrikes targeting fishing boats, vessels suspected of involvement in drug smuggling off the coast of Latin America. The campaign has drawn severe international condemnation, particularly from key ally Colombia, with multiple foreign leaders and legal experts asserting that the lethal operations violate international law and raise serious concerns about potential war crimes.
I don't think we're going to necessarily ask for a declaration of war. I think we're just going to kill people that are bringing drugs into our country. Okay? We're going to kill them. You know, they're going to be like dead. Okay?
The expansion of the U.S. military strategy into the Pacific was confirmed by U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, who announced that strikes over the past 2 days had resulted in 5 deaths. A defense official specified that the first vessel struck on Tuesday, killing 2 people, was in international waters near Colombia. A second strike on Wednesday killed 3 more. These latest actions bring the total number of known strikes against alleged narcotics trafficking boats to 9 since early September, leading to at least 37 confirmed fatalities since these airstrikes began.
We are seeing new video of the latest U.S. military strike on a submarine in the Caribbean Sea, accused of carrying drugs. President Trump posted this video online, saying it was his great honor to destroy the vessel with 4 people on board. 2 people died in Thursday's attack and 2 survived. The president announced the survivors will be returned to their home countries of Ecuador and Colombia, where they will face charges. Now, President Trump has said many of these boats are coming from Venezuela. Earlier this week, Trump confirmed he authorized covert CIA action in the South American country, increasing tensions with Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro.
The initial 7 attacks were confined to the Caribbean Sea. However, the move into the East Pacific, confirmed by Hegseth in social media posts, has intensified regional anxiety. Hegseth asserted that the vessels were operated by a designated terrorist organization and were transiting along a known narco-trafficking route in international waters based on CIA intelligence regarding illicit narcotics smuggling. The defense secretary shared videos of the strikes which showed the boats engulfed in flames, and a video of the Wednesday strike appears to show bags or parcels floating in the water after the vessel was hit.
Strikes like this are at the center of an escalating fight between Colombia and the Trump administration. 3 men were killed by a strike in the Caribbean Sea Friday, one of 7 deadly U.S. strikes in recent weeks. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth claiming, without providing evidence, they were affiliated with a Colombian insurgency group. Now, Trump calling the president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, an illegal drug leader, threatening to cut off aid from the country considered a U.S. ally.
They are a drug manufacturing machine, Colombia.
The U.S. campaign was initially framed by the Trump regime as an urgent measure to destroy cartels operating out of Venezuela, with Donald Trump attempting to justify the use of force by claiming the U.S. was engaged in an armed conflict with drug traffickers. Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro, conversely, has accused Washington of using the operation as a thin veil to pursue regime change. The military actions have been reinforced by a substantial deployment of U.S. military assets to the Caribbean, including guided missile destroyers, F-35 fighter jets, a nuclear submarine, and approximately 6,500 troops. The extension of operations into the Pacific and the targeting of vessels linked to the region have severely frayed relationships with Colombia, despite the long history of security cooperation between the 2 nations. The Colombian Foreign Ministry demanded that the U.S. cease these attacks and respect the norms dictated by international law. Colombian President Gustavo Petro went further, denouncing the actions as murder and a violation of international legal norms. The forceful nature of these protests from allies like Colombia and Mexico underscores the perceived overreach of the U.S. military and the potential for extrajudicial force outside a formal conflict zone, which can provoke international scrutiny related to war crimes. Trump has defended the lethal actions with highly sensationalized and unsubstantiated claims, repeatedly asserting that the military strike has saved over 100,000 American lives. Not once has he responded to questions as to why these alleged drug traffickers were not arrested, detained, and given due process.
All of these people have been blown up without us knowing their name, without any evidence of a crime.
During an October 15th press conference, Trump stated that the destruction of each boat saved 25,000 American lives, arguing that the loss of 3 people to save 25,000 made the act justifiable. He even referred to the action as an act of kindness. He has tied the claim specifically to fentanyl, saying, "You see that fentanyl all over the ocean? It's like floating in bags." However, the administration has provided no evidence, not even in the videos shared by the Defense Secretary, to confirm the type or quantity of narcotics on the vessels, making his numbers impossible to verify. Drug policy researchers and experts have categorically stated that there is no known method to accurately translate the seizure of drugs into a specific number of overdose deaths averted. Furthermore, Trump's figures are mathematically dubious. Research by PolitiFact noted that if the 5 vessels struck had each carried drugs responsible for 25,000 deaths, the total of 125,000 potential fatalities would nearly double the 73,000 U.S. drug overdose deaths reported by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in the most recent 1-year period. Experts also point out that interdiction only leads the drug supply chain to partially replace the lost product. It does not eliminate demand or save a static number of lives.
Over the last few minutes, literally shot out a boat, a drug-carrying boat, a lot of drugs in that boat. And you'll be seeing that and you'll be reading about that. And there's more where that came from. We have a lot of drugs pouring into our country, coming in for a long time. And these came out of Venezuela. We took it out, and you'll get to see that.
Contradicting Trump's focus on fentanyl and Venezuela, most illicit fentanyl entering the U.S. is sourced from labs in Mexico and China and is typically smuggled across the U.S. southern land border, while Colombia is the world's leading cocaine supplier. The drug is primarily moved through the Pacific Corridor or via Ecuador to Mexican cartels. Critics like Elizabeth Dickinson of the International Crisis Group argue that the targeted vessels involve low-level traffickers, meaning these lethal attacks have little or no material effect on the actual trafficking of drugs to the United States.
You're looking at video shared by President Trump that his administration says shows the military striking a boat from Venezuela allegedly carrying drugs. The president says 11 were killed in the attack.
Trump is literally firing blind as an excuse to execute people of color.
This is the 6th boat the U.S. military has struck in international waters, killing at least 29 people, according to the Trump administration. Though some in Congress are questioning whether the strikes are legal.
The combination of the U.S. military's lethal expansion, the lack of substantiating evidence regarding the narcotics seized, and Trump's inflammatory rhetoric have created a diplomatic crisis. The condemnation from allies and the implicit concerns over compliance with international humanitarian law position the operation less as a counter-narcotic success and more like a significant foreign policy gamble that risks alienating key partners in Latin America. Donald Trump has vowed to escalate further, stating he is totally prepared to order strikes against land targets next. I'm Anthony Davis. You can find me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with MeidasTouch.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.